like 28 horsepower trap.
Okay, Hank.
You guys ready?
I'm good.
Ready? Okay.
Great to be here on Wednesday after a scintillating win by our guys. We played about a quarter and a half of the good guys, the starters, and then everybody else got a chance to play. We played every single person on our roster that was eligible to play in the ball game. And we're pretty deep, as witnessed by Ja'Cory Ford. Enters the second week of the season as the leading rusher in the United States of America. And it's just an exclamation point to the type of performance I think this football team's capable of in a lot of ways, particularly on our depth. Our depth was great to see. A couple new guys started last week for the very first time and really played outstanding on the offensive line. Chase Collins played his first game as a starter, as a quality starter on the right side of right tackle, and with Thomas Vazorka unavailable, and it looks like now I'm going to redshirt Vazorka for the season. Collins will be the starting right tackle now for the next couple of games, I hope. Brian Finian-Gonofo got a chance to play quite a bit at left tackle, and that was pretty cool for us, and the starters just played outstanding. We played all 4 tight ends, and we played them all as starters. We played 7 wide receivers. Trey Pilster did not play as much as he's going to play this coming week, but we'll enter this week's game with 6 starters at wide receiver. And of course on defense, it was great to see John Peoples chip some of the rust off, but an outstanding performance by C.J. Langlow at linebacker, along with Hayden Stout. Those 2 guys really have become kind of the anchors of our defense in the middle. They're able to make quick adjustments and get us lined up. Camino Ward played in place of Tyson Manu, just played outstanding. So a couple of cool things for us last Saturday.
Thoughts on this week?
Well, Portland State, obviously a ferocious offense, coming off a huge win for them against Washington State University last week in Pullman. They entered the halftime down 10-0 and won the second half by a considerable margin. They showed tremendous mental toughness and resiliency. They never panicked. They stayed within their game plan. They played outstanding on defense. Even though they didn't force a lot of turnovers, they were able to keep the Cougars off the scoreboard the second half, and they took advantage of every possession in the second half to move the ball and get field position, maintain field position, and get their quarterback loose on several run reads. So good variability in their offense. They don't throw a lot. They don't want to throw a lot. It's witnessed by their 5 interceptions they threw against us last year, which really was the difference in the ballgame. So for us to be able to win, we have got to stop the run. Have to stop the run. And then, of course, at quarterback, we've got to continue to grow and develop and make outstanding plays. The great challenge this week will be by their excellent corner against Madison. And they played great against each other last year. It was a great battle. A lot of hand fighting and jersey pulling going on by both guys. It'll be worth the theater on Saturday to watch Madison play against a very good corner.
On Vazorka, have you decided to redshirt him?
Yes, I've decided to redshirt. He has a red shirt. He's not a starter going into week 2. So regardless of whether he's available or not available, Thomas and Kyle Jones will both redshirt this season in our offensive line.
How difficult a decision was that?
None. Chase is playing great.
Did his performance against Buckhill State make the decision easier?
I think his performance throughout camp. His performance on the scale at the start of the season in preseason physical was the tail of the tape, because he's 295 and he's up from the 230 or what 240 was when we recruited. He's big enough to play. He's got great feet, good speed, got great leverage. Outstanding players at redshirt sophomore.
Do you like having a conference game in week 2?
I'm the guy that made the decision. It came all the way to me. It came all the way to my desk. Jeff came down and saw me and said, "Mike, we want to play. Portland State wants us to play week 2, so we all get a bye in the middle of the season." And I said, "Well, they're playing Washington State, and we're playing Black Hill State. That would be a great opportunity." And then just before the game, when I saw the final score, I went, "Oh, be careful what you wish for." And now we face a team that has a lot of swagger, a lot of aplomb, a team that thinks very highly of itself, a team that feels disaffected by the way the prognosticators of the media and the other coaches have felt about their preseason chances. They're mentally tough, they're physically tough. They returned their front 7 on defense, and they played the best game against us last year defensively of any team in the conference. So a tremendous challenge for us offensively this week.
What does that win last week for them say about Bruce Barnum?
I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know Bruce, so I don't know what it means.
Is there
Like-
a
question.
Mike, when you have seen the tape on Carissa, their quarterback, he ran for almost 100 yards against a Pac-12 defense in Washington State. Were those plays more like by design because you've seen the tape, his running, or was it just out of necessity?
Yeah, Portland State's more similar to the way they were in 2011 to 2012. They want the quarterback to run the ball.
Are they still running the pistol?
They do occasionally. They'll go under center at times, but they're primarily a midline, mid-option team that wants the quarterback to run the ball. They don't like to pitch it. They don't like to pitch it. They don't like to throw it. And they don't like to pitch it. But they like to hit you with dive and sweeps and reverses, and have the quarterback carry the ball as a counter player. He's the second running back in the backfield.
Okay.
Is there a different thought now going into this game after seeing them beat Washington State? Do you have to have a different mentality at all?
No, I don't think we have a mentality at all about our opponent. We always try to ignore who we're playing. Our slogan is not who we play, it's how we play. And our guys are conscious of the fact that Portland State hung 77 on us a couple of years ago. I think the coaches probably remember that a little more. But we also are conscious of the fact that we won a narrow ball game down there. And the other thing is that we have a 7-game home winning streak. And if you're going to win the conference, you have to be undefeated at home.
Mike, what did it say in your mind as a coach of the conference, seeing what the conference did last week? You had two conference teams that were not picked very high, beating FBS opponents. You had Northern Arizona going on the road to knock off the top 25 FCS team. Conference may be even better, I think, than a lot of people thought.
The garden looks good. All the plants have just started to come out of the ground. I don't know if it's going to be edible by November. Who cares about that first game? Whether you play a 1A opponent or a Division II opponent, week one doesn't tell us anything. And our coaching staff focus has never been on September. Never. September's install month for us. I don't care who we play, how we play, or what we do. By the time we get to October, you're going to win every game in October, and then in November, you got to rise to the challenge. So September, much ado about nothing.
Does that mentality have to change since it is a conference game a little bit? No.
No, not a bit. Not a bit. We're still unearthing our quarterback. I mean, he played with about 40% of our game plan last week with our overall offense. And now he'll get a little more this week, and he'll get a little more next week, and he'll get a little more the week after that. The fact that it's Portland State game 2 is inconsequential to how we're trying to coach our offense and coach our defense. We're still opening the boxes for those guys. I mean, Hayden Stout's played one game as a linebacker. John Peoples has played 20-some plays for us. Those guys we got a long ways to go to say this is the final product. The fact that we played Portland State early in the year is cool for both teams, but I doubt whether this game will be a barometer how each team will play in October and November. I doubt by the time both these two teams get to November, this game will be a long, distant memory.
Are you planning on using Tanner at all?
Yes, Tanner will play in the ball game right away. You darn right. And we'll play all of our receivers, all of our backs. We'll play all of our depth. We're not so myopic that we're going to just play 14 or 13 guys on offense the same way on defense. We're playing our width and our depth and our bench and everybody that's going down the ramp that's eligible to play is probably going to get an opportunity to play on Saturday because it's game 2 of the season. You know, and if you run a program, if you run a program in which you're developing players, you're going to use game 2 against anybody as another experience for the guys who haven't played well.
So talk about the progress you want to see your quarterbacks make from game 1 to game 2 for both of them and what you saw in game 1.
Well, we need to continue to be accurate. We need to throw the ball in rhythm and timing. There were about 4 passes in the game that Tanner showed that he's a redshirt freshman. And Michael held the ball one time, but he only played, a quarter and a half, literally. So Michael's got to play against a more ferocious rush. We'll see. He's not been tackled yet. Can Michael Sanders play after he gets tackled one time? He hasn't been tackled yet. And Tanner got tackled once, and he carried the ball. So there's a lot of great opportunity and learning going to go on Saturday for us as a football team. It doesn't have much to do with Portland State.
Corey fumbled, and that's been something I think that's nagged him at times. Maybe that's the development of that you talked about. So how does he eliminate that, and how much of an issue is it, particularly when X doesn't fumble?
Our running backs don't fumble, whether it's Ja'Cory Ford or X, period. So if you fumble, you're not one of our running backs. I think that says the whole thing. Ja'Cory cannot fumble. There's 3 things that are important for any football team. 1 is to win, 2 is keep your quarterback upright, and don't take a sack in the red zone, and 3 is don't turn the ball over. And when you violate one of those first three principles,
What do you expect from the fans? This is probably the first time in a long time 2 ranked teams will play here at Holt Arena. So what do you want to see from the fans, or what do you want to tell them?
come to the party, be a part of the progress, be a part of it. Don't come as a fan, come as a participant. Come and enjoy yourself, but participate, get into it. I don't want to look up in our stands and see our people sitting down on 3rd down. Let's go.
You mentioned Portland State and the success they had last year defensively. So what makes them good, and is there something about the way they play you that makes it difficult?
I don't think it's the way they play us. I think it's the way they play everybody. They're fundamentally very sound. Malik Roberson and I have been real close friends for a very long time, their defensive coordinator. He and I worked together at Washington State University. He's a really calm, persistent, dedicated defensive guy to the principles that he believes in. He's not stone-headed, but he's flexible enough to change and adapt. But they're fundamentally sound in how they align and how they play, especially their down guys. And in the secondary, the way they play, they don't gamble. They keep everything in front of you, in front of them. They're going to challenge the receivers on the outside, but we're not going to run by them. If we run by them, they're going to reach out and snag us. And that's the way it works, the way it worked last year. So it's a great battle. You get the chance to come and watch Brock Malcolm and Madison Mangum play against their corners. Just that alone is worth the price of a ticket, because that's going to be a great hand fight battle all Saturday.
Wazoo had a lot of yards, but they didn't hit Portland State with deep plays. So is that what you mentioned? Is that they don't mind if you run a lot of plays necessarily, but as long as you don't have, they're going to make you earn it. Is that their main goal of defense?
Yeah, I like to use all those coaching cliches: bend, don't break, keep everything in front of you, da 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 da. But they're really confident defensively. They're very physical defensively, and they don't coach themselves out of things. Sometimes coaches on defense will coach themselves off the field. They'll coach themselves out of the profession because they think they want to do something cute or innovative or nouveau. And in the end, it's about how effective your players play, not what you call. And they call a very conservative game plan. We expect them to continue to play that way against us, and it'll be a severe challenge for us, especially our offensive front. Last year, our game against Portland State, that was the worst we've played as an offensive line. We'll play much better.
I think Zach punted once last game. Is he your punter?
It was pretty cool. He caught the snap. Now, that's my issue with Zach's punting, is that anybody can kick it if you're a kicker, right? But you've not caught the ball. But he had to catch that snap, and he caught one of the snaps was high. In fact, one time Andy Burtonshaw, our snapper, said, I snapped it and went, oh, I'm waiting for the crowd. And he said Zach caught it. But no, he did a nice job punting. No, Tanner Goer will start the game as our punter, and then if the situation warrants, Zach will go in and be the punter.
Taking a minute to just look at the program in a big level, not even this weekend's game, but so you're ranked, you've got all these kind of different uniforms, there's energy around the program, and you brought the orange helmet today. So, you mentioned before that the process has probably taken longer than you wanted, I think because of the defensive adjustments you've had to make along the way.
No, because of APR. First APR, and then it was defensive adjustments on our coaching staff, and then obviously recruiting. We're still behind in recruiting, especially on defense. This is why we have so many young guys, freshmen in our 2 deep and our D-line. We're not. You look at our program top to bottom. Are we can we bet it be a nationally top 4 or 5 team? Certainly not with the depth we have on our defensive line. Not yet. And those guys might be good players, but that's too many freshmen. And I'm a freshman who started 9 games as a true defensive lineman in the Big Sky Conference a long time ago. By the time you get to November, it's a true freshman defense line. If you're playing a lot, you are like, what in the world is happening to my life? So, no, I like where we're at in a lot of spots. Defensive line, we're still just dreadfully young. Got to be able to avoid unavailability in our defensive line. Our defensive line's got to be more of a factor in containing and harassing the quarterback. The onus of the game simply comes down to how well does our quarterback play and how well does our D-line play against their rush, and how fast can we pressure their quarterback. That's it. Everything else is an accoutrement. It goes with it.
You mentioned APR, so overcoming those challenges, was it more difficult than you anticipated?
Yeah. It was not harder. It was just going to take longer, because with APR you couldn't just come in and flush. You had to eat. So you had to eat guys that were bad players, bad people, and you had to try and convince them that graduating was important to them so we could rise our APR and get our scholarships back.
knew about the APR issues when you were hired, right?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Knew it'd be a while. Hope we could coach our way through it. Didn't, couldn't, can't, won't, don't. You got to have full scholarships, and you got to have a culture of academic success in order to be successful. Not just at Idaho State, but at every school, at every single school, because APR is so dreadfully important. And at our level, in the Big Sky level, you do it without summer school. In the Division I level, all those guys give full summer school scholarships to everybody that's on scholarship throughout the summer. We don't have that at the Big Sky. So you have to be very good, better than a Division I school in your fall semester and spring semester academically, or you fail at APR-wise. There's no, you can't backtrack. Whereas if you're at Boise State or Idaho, you got a bad fall, great, make it up in the spring and the summer, because it's all paid for. So it's just a difference.
North Dakota announced it's going to pay full cost of attendance. You mentioned you're not pro that.
Well, that'll never happen for us.
How does it change things in the Big Sky potentially?
I don't think it does. We don't recruit against each other, so no big deal.
I think it could be an advantage for North Dakota down the road.
Where? Recruiting? In Chicago? They're going to start recruiting in Seattle? Boise? Pocatello? When they start recruiting out here, then it'll be an issue. Until then, nah.
What if it forces MSU or Montana to really consider that?
Good for them. It's just unrealistic for Idaho State to think that we're going to pay beyond that, beyond a scholarship, room, board, books, fees, and tuition. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of opportunity for a lot of people. There's a lot of good football players out there that will take that and say, thank you very much for my opportunity.
So it basically just comes down to, no matter who does it around you, you'll just recruit the guys you need to.
Yeah, I have a hard time going in and negotiating with a player. I'm going to give you 20% of cost of attendance in addition to your scholarship. It's like a salary cap then. Heck with that. Those Division I guys can deal with all that because it comes with a lot of intrigue that I don't want to ever have to be a part of as a head coach. If I come to you and sit on your couch and offer your son room, board, books, fees, and tuition, and you don't say, thank you very much, we're coming, well, then I'm recruiting another guy.
Speaking of recruiting, did you ever try to get Tanner Mangum? Did you ever look at him?
I love the kid, and in fact, one thing I was thinking today about opening up our conference, we'd like to offer the best wishes, obviously, to a great quarterback at BYU who's now doesn't get a chance to play. I don't even know if I'm allowed to even say his name, but we just wish he and his family the very finest. It's been three very tough years for Taysom. We just wish him the very, very best. And we hope that Tanner can continue to play at the pace that Taysom was playing, and he can play like his big brother, because his big brother's playing his rear end off also.
So, can you comment, did you ever try to recruit?
I can't comment on it.
Okay.
Were you surprised by the media attention this touchdown grab got this week?
No.
No.
And you guys asked me after the game, was I surprised I catch? No, I see one every day. Seriously, you're like going, Kramer, no, wait a minute. When have you seen a catch like that? Wednesday. In fact, go back to last year's game. Madison had a catch down the left sideline just like that. Only caught it with his left hand instead of his right hand. I mean, he caught the point of the ball, he curled the ball, went down, the corner was right on top of him. It was maybe the catalyst to a great game for us. We're not astounded by it. It's not really an expectation, because we'd rather have him catch the ball with two hands. Literally. We don't really want to see that. But when he does it, it's like, okay, what do you do? Give it back? So, he's a good football player. Madison's a good football player. He's competitive. He got a little exhausted yesterday in practice. In fact, on one play yesterday in practice, the ball got snapped and he just bent over because he's working so hard. And that's good. That's good to see. I thought we had an excellent day as a team yesterday in practice. We were extremely intense in terms of our performance, and we'll play better than Saturday because we had such a good Tuesday practice.
Do you think Madison is going to feed off the energy that his family is now feeling?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with Madison. Madison feeds off himself, his own confidence. Remember, Madison's the guy that walked into our office and said, Coach Kramer, I'd like to play for you. He did it. Not his mom, not his dad, not his brother, not his high school coach. He did it by himself. And we went, yeah, no problem. And then he failed in his first opportunity at the University of Washington. He dropped 2 passes in a row and went into the tank for almost a whole season. He was good for 1 catch a game for the rest of that season. And he fought his way back in 14 to be the dominant receiver in this conference, along with Cooper Kupp. So A lot of good players in this conference and a lot of great plays coming ahead. Madison Mangum is one of those guys.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you tonight, Mike.
See you.